Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell, and welcome to another episode of Thrive, turning uncertainty into your competitive advantage. The show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to turn all of this uncertainty into your competitive advantage. And today we have our rock star with us. We've got Brandon Bornancin. He is the CEO and founder of Seamless AI. And, Brandon, I am really excited. You are like a serial entrepreneur. You are a sales guru. But today, I really want to talk about the technology and the work that you do. But for any of our listeners who don't happen to know you, you go ahead and do a little introduction of yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much, Meredith, for having me on this show. I know we've been connected and working on a bunch of stuff together from afar. Columbus, Ohio, Asheville, North Carolina. It's been awesome to see you, your book, your podcast, just crush it. So super humbled and grateful to be here. Audience tuning in. I'm a guy born and raised out of Cleveland, Ohio. Came from nothing. My family was super poor and got lucky in entrepreneurship when I was 18, built my first 8-figure company in the gambling industry. And then they made online gambling illegal in the US. So I lost over, $3 to $4 million in sales and money and had to quit entrepreneurship. So I had 2 businesses from 18 to 22. One was a success, one was a failure. And then after my second failure, my second business that was a failure, I ended up becoming a salesperson for IBM and Google. And selling for IBM and Google, I found it time-consuming, difficult, and expensive to get contact information for everyone that you need to sell to and to build all the lists and the CRM data entry. And I want to blow my brains out trying to find my TAM and sell to my TAM. So I built the software to automate all of that. I generated $100 million in sales insanely fast, became a millionaire again for the first time as a W-2 salesperson. And that's when I realized, hey, if I could do that as a salesperson, I want to help every salesperson in the world using my secret software, which was Seamless.ai, and quit my job to then go full-time building the software to help the world connect opportunity and win our highly coveted award, which is called the 7-Figure Club Award, which means you generate over $1 million in sales using our software.
I love seeing you really give the kudos to everybody who wins those awards. I'm intrigued by this idea that, so young, you got into entrepreneurship, had a couple of businesses that failed. But if I'm understanding you correctly, it was after that you got into sales. Is that correct?
Yeah. So ironically, when I was 18, this is the problem with the school system, by the way, Meredith. The school system says, for you to get rich, you need to become a doctor, you need to become a lawyer, you need to become an accountant or a dentist. So growing up, my family was like, oh, you should become a lawyer or a doctor. So I went to I was pre-law, literally at Ohio University. I was in pre-law political science for like the first quarter. And then I came across business. And then I launched my first company for the gambling industry because I was a big online poker player. And then I realized that if I sold people to join all these poker sites, I could make more money recruiting for them than I could playing poker. So that's kick-started my entrepreneur and sales career. And I grew that to an 8-figure company, about $12 million in sales, 18, 19, 20. So that was door-to-door sales as an entrepreneur. And that was a grind. And it was awesome though, because I loved poker. So marketing and selling a product that I loved for party poker, full tilt poker, poker stores, you name it, was awesome. And then my second company was text message marketing. I thought text message marketing on your phone, it was called InMobile. Get it? Like text message marketing to your mobile. I thought that would be the future. This was 2007, 8, 9. So I launched this high-tech B2B software company during the financial crisis, the mortgage crisis. No one's buying anything. My family goes through a massive financial struggle, and it was just a nightmare, the longest 3 years of my life. And yeah, so I started sales full time when that business failed. I didn't know what to do. And I thought sales was the next best thing to entrepreneurship with no risk. And then kind of the rest is history.
So what do you think, you talk about 2008, 2009, compared to what we've been through in this past year. that looks like nothing, right? I mean, I remember when, the dot-com bust hit in the early 2000s. We all thought that was terrible. And then the economy starts going down in 2007 and makes the dot-com bust look like nothing. Then COVID hits. What do you think the biggest challenges businesses are facing right now as they look to grow in 2021?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like when I look at the dot-com versus the financial mortgage crisis versus COVID, I think honestly, the dot-com was terrible. The mortgage crisis was really bad. COVID was bad, but for different select industries. Like, I don't believe COVID was that bad for B2B sales. Yes, everyone had to go remote. Like, if you're in restaurant, travel, tourism, it's brutal. But for like B2B, that industry, it froze hiring. But like the financial mortgage crisis, like destroyed businesses, destroyed consumers. I think there's just different industries affected. The dot-com, it affected all SaaS, all software, all online media, right? So I think all these different crises just impact different industries at different times. What was the question? Sorry.
The biggest challenges you think businesses are facing right now. I mean, as they look to 2021, we all thought we would bring in the new year and the past would be behind us, but there's still a lot of uncertainty sitting in the marketplace right now. So what do you think some of the biggest challenges as you deal with clients out there that you see that they're facing?
Yeah, I think it's remote selling. I think it's acquiring customers remote. I think it's taking their entire workforce remote, right? Like that was a big one for us and all of our clients is, okay, we had an office of 200 people. Now we have to take everyone remote. Then we have to make sure that we maximize everyone's potential, personally, professionally, and mentally. The biggest thing that I'm worried about is mental health of all of our employees because, we have a young workforce. They're probably in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, maybe a house, a small house, you name it. Like they're crammed, they're working remote. I want to make sure that, hey, you're working remote. You got to maximize your mental health. We got to make sure that you're successful. We want to make sure that you're supported virtually. And then the majority of businesses just had a very difficult time selling remote. Hey, how do I get their cell phones? How do I get their emails? Like our business skyrocketed because we have cell phones and emails everyone in the world. But if you don't have our software or if you don't know how to sell to people that are remote or find those people, that's been a big difficulty and a big challenge for most corporations. Like you can't call the company line and try to get a hold of Meridith. You can't call the company line and get a hold of a decision maker. You literally have to figure out what am I going to do to survive and thrive. And the way that we were able to grow 5x during a pandemic was we said, hey, whatever our goal is this year, we're going to 5x it. We're going to do the daily activity to hit the 5x target. There's 265 sales days in a year. We increased the target by 5. We've reverse engineered that 5x annual revenue number by 265. That gave us the daily activity of sales leads, calls, emails, social touches, videos, pitches, close one deals. And then that allowed us to quadruple the business even during the crisis.
So talk to us a little bit about your software, because you're right. One of the biggest challenges is how do you get a hold of people these days? How do you get contact with them? How do you make sure that you've got the right information? Tell us about the software. Tell us about what it offers and how people use it.
Yeah, so Seamless, I built Seamless with my team and I to help the world connect to opportunity. I thought it was kind of weird and messed up that for me to connect with someone on LinkedIn, I have to know them. I have to be a friend with them. I have to be referred to them. I'm like, what if the world democratized the ability? Like if you wanted to call Elon Musk, if you wanted to call Satya Nadella, CEO at Microsoft, if you want to call anyone, an HR manager to get a new job, a new VP of sales or a VP of marketing to sell them, I just thought it was, why do you need to add them as a friend? Why do you need to connect with them on LinkedIn? What if you could click one button, get their contact information, and build a relationship one-to-one? And that's what we ended up building at Seamless. It's a search engine for salespeople and marketers where you type in any title, any company. In real time, our search engine finds everyone that matches your search criteria. And then from working at IBM, we built an AI engine that will research their cell phones, their emails, and direct dials instantly in seconds And luckily, it took years to build. But then right when we launched the product in 2018, we went from 0 to multiple 8 figures in sales in less than a few years. One fastest growing SaaS company, best technology company, number one best places to work in 24 months. And it's been a blessing because the challenge and the mission is so big. And when you talk about thriving, that's why we've been so successful. Is like our mission is to help the world connect opportunity and positively impact a billion people. You've got a big mission tied to helping and serving your customer and your ideal audience. Anything's possible.
Yeah, it's almost like intrinsic motivation on steroids, right?
Yeah.
But your business had to have gone crazy once COVID hit, because then getting that information became that much more important. Did you find that?
You feel guilty a little bit, like, because there's so many businesses struggling, and our growth rate almost doubled during COVID because everyone was remote. And we've been telling people, like, you need to sell to people directly on their mobile phones, their cell phones, their emails. You need to reach people one-to-one. You need to build a relationship one-to-one with them. You can't just rely on the corporate directory or a corporate email. And everyone just finally got it. Like, I like to say, N95 masks and then the seamless platform. Where I wish we had the exact growth rate of N95 masks, but we're blessed to be able to help so many people sell to everyone that's working remote right now.
So how do you see that selling has changed? I mean, if I'm an entrepreneur out there listening and I'm still using the same strategy that I was using before COVID, how's it changed and what do I need to be doing differently?
Yeah. All these companies, I pitched 347 venture capitalists. They all told me I was crazy trying to build a company that was remote. I didn't have money at the time to get an office, to hire a ton of people. So I just bootstrapped, worked out of my house, hired as many people remote as possible that I could afford, which was like 5. And then all these venture capitalists were like, you'll never build a company remote. You'll never build a massive company with everyone all over the place. And that, like, just like VCs, all these companies globally and nationally, they just didn't think that you could build a remote sales force, a remote business, a remote workforce, because they're thinking in the old adage of, like, you got to go to the office, you got to watch your employees, clock in at 9, clock out at 5. You got to sit there and look at them at their desks. And the reality is if you hire great people, if you've got the right communication platforms, the Slacks, the Jiras, the Basecamps, like, if you have the right project management, the right communication, all of this jazz, anything's possible. And I'm so excited now more than ever. Everyone can work remote. Everyone can collaborate remote. Everyone could sell remote. Like, I raised nearly $100 million in venture capital funding remote. We've generated multiple 8 figures in sales remote. We've we service hundreds of thousands of sales teams remote. So I think the world finally is open to realizing you can do anything anywhere. It's about the people. If you got to sit there and watch the person at the desk for 9 hours, 8 hours, you got the wrong people, or you got the wrong managers, one of the two. So if you hire the right people, you can enable them to do anything anywhere.
Do you think it takes a different set of skills to sell remotely versus in person?
No, I think it takes my book, Whatever It Takes, right here. I think it takes knowing how to do whatever it takes, which means you've got 2 types of people. One, I'm excited about new technology and new challenges. Then you've got the other type of person. I hate new technology. I hate problem solving. I hate challenges. The person that says, I love new technology. I love new challenges because challenge equals growth equals opportunity. This person does whatever it takes, right? So sell remote, you just need to know, hey, okay, now I'm going to learn how to use, technologies like Seamless, technologies like Zoom, like Slack, like all of these platforms to sell more social selling. I'm going to use video. I'm going to use texting. I'm going to use, email video, you name it. And I'm going to use branding and marketing to build my own personal brand. I think it takes someone that's got the attitude to do whatever it takes. And if you need to learn how to do whatever it takes, books on Amazon, all the habits to maximize your success.
So you do think you can learn to do whatever it takes? I mean, if I seem to be wired as somebody who's a little bit fearful of a challenge and things like that, you do believe I can be rewired to do whatever it takes?
Dude, I was literally telling my wife, I was getting ready this morning, and I was just had this ironic reflection. I'm like, these cards. The deck was stacked against me. Dude, grew up in the ghetto of Cleveland. My mom worked at a bank and grocery store. My dad worked in construction and at Macy's, selling computers in Macy's, which was the May company. Then went to, the average schools where all the kids told me I was too ADD, couldn't do anything, couldn't be successful. Like, everything about how I grew up and what I went through, everything was stacked against me. And you just have to say, like, am I going to accept that future? And am I going to accept what people are saying I can do or not do? Or you're going to say, screw it. Like, I'm going to write my own path. And I learned, I'm a sales guy that went to the #1 party school and the #1 business school that then built a multiple 8-figure company that then built a search engine. Like, I'm not an engineer. I taught myself how to program and how to engineer. When teachers told me I didn't know anything about calculus, I didn't know anything about physics, I didn't know anything about algorithms, I didn't know anything about the computer science programming languages, like, hey, and the same teachers told me I couldn't sell, so all of these things, it's funny. You can't listen to anyone. You just got to say, what am I going to do? And then I will do whatever it takes. I will learn, do, study, master, program, all of it. I will do whatever it takes to do anything that takes me from where I'm at today to where I need to go tomorrow to be successful. And I think it can be learned if you put in the work. Like, it's just, anything can be learned. There's no limitation unless it's the limitation that you put on yourself. Like, no one taught me how to raise $100 million in venture capital funding. No one taught me how to build a company worth hundreds of millions in valuation. No one taught me how to acquire 100,000 customers. You just, what do I need to do today to get to the next goalpost? And then you learn no matter what. And you also, Meridith, you have to assume 100% responsibility. Too many people complain and blame other people. And I was lucky at a very young age where, like, my family had no money. If I played the blame game, I was going to die and I was going to lose and my business would fail. So I always had to assume 100% responsibility for all my successes, all my failures. So I think when you do whatever it takes and you assume full responsibility for the good and the bad, you'll never lose because you'll never quit.
I couldn't. I wrote a book once with responsibility in the title, and the publisher said you can't have responsibility in the title because nobody will buy the book. Nobody wants to be responsible. But I think exactly what you said. I think that we could do an entire show on responsibility because I think we've been sold a bill of goods. Like, we want to blame other people, and as much fun as that is to do, to say that it's somebody else's fault, the problem is, you're stuck. You don't make any progress. The moment that I say it's Brandon's problem, I'm not successful, I've taken away all my power to change my situation and make myself successful. So I always say that taking responsibility is the ultimate gift of freedom. I've had a listener kind of chime in here, wants to know a couple of your sales secrets.
Oh man, a couple of my sales secrets. So, thanks so much, by the way, LinkedIn user, for tuning in. We appreciate you. I wish StreamYard would give us if you put in the chat, we'll be able to see, who's tuning in. But okay, so a couple of the sales secrets. So my first sales secret is you can't sell anything to anyone without the list. So to build your list, you need to pick a niche to get rich. What I mean by that is pick the one title, the one seniority, the one industry, the one department, the one company size. Pick your niche. And then you could build your list to the niche that's very focused and then sell to that list 24/7 and then you will get rich. That's all it takes.
Wow.
Pick a niche, build the list, sell the list, get rich. And why that's so important to build a list that's in a niche, super niche focused, one person in one company type, because your messaging, when you write your emails, your calls, your social scripts, your video scripts, your pitch decks, your case studies, your social proof, your objections, you know everything about that one list. So it's super personalized. So when you pick a niche, you build your list. Then to sell to that list 24/7, you have to write your scripts. And guess what? When you write your scripts to the niche, I don't need to research Brock, Sarah, Toby, Mitch, Lisa, Meredith, like one-to-one to one-to-one. I'm selling to the masses in this hyper-personalized list, which means every email, call, and social touch I make is personalized to them, their industry, their title, their pain points, their KPIs, their responsibilities. So you can do 1,000 emails, 1,000 calls, 1,000 social touches. And because you picked a niche, it will feel super hyper-personalized to them. And the only problem is most people struggle with the list. You can go to seamless.ai, build the list there. And then if you need any help with script writing, I've got a whole 25-hour course. When you join Seamless, you get it for free on script writing, because if you know how to build the list, you know how to write and communicate and sell via email, social, LinkedIn, all of that jazz, you can become unstoppable.
I love that. I think it's one of the most fearful things for salespeople and business owners to do is to have the courage to niche. And I always say, look at Amazon. I mean, when they started, they certainly weren't selling to me. I mean, I was the person who thought we were still going to go downtown Asheville to buy a book. So they knew who they were marketing to, and those people ended up selling the rest of us. Brandon, it is hard to believe, but we have come to the end of this podcast. One thing we got to promise to have you back. Maybe we could have you live in Asheville, and we could do this on my set in my studio live.
Let's do it.
How about that?
Only if you promise to join me. Asheville's got some of the best vegan. So I'm whole food, plant-powered vegan. I believe the food that you eat will make or break your life. And I heard Asheville's got the best whole food, plant-powered restaurants in the world.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll go out, share a meal, and I'd love to have you here do it live. I've got two last questions for you. One, you got to let everybody know how to find you, get a hold of you, get your books, find out more about seamless.ai. The last piece of advice, last question is, what's your best piece of advice? Here we go into, we're first quarter is gone. It's behind us. We've got 3 more quarters left in 2021. I know. It went like that. But if we want to blow it out of the water, if we really want this year to be good, what do we need to focus on? What do we need to do? What is your best piece of advice?
My best piece of advice, and then I'll tell you where to find me. So best piece of advice is you got to do, whether you buy the book or not, you have to do whatever it takes to go from where you're at to where you need to go. Like I wrote this book first 22 days of March. The governor shut down Ohio, where we're at, Columbus, Ohio, on March 2nd or whatever day he did. That whole month, my gym was closed. I wrote for 2 hours a day on all the habits that I thought would make or break our employees, our users, because everyone underestimates the amount of damage that can come from these events, and they overestimate the amount of work it's actually going to take. Whatever it takes, we'll give you all the habits to maximize your success in business, relationships, and life. And whether you buy the book or not, just have a whatever it takes mindset. That means whatever I need to learn, study, do, activity, energy, whatever I need to do, the habits to transform your business, your relationship, your life, just go and do that. And the book's got a lot of stuff about that. And then also where you can find me. So I do a daily newsletter on seamless.ai. You could join the platform for free where you get my daily newsletter. And also, I'm going to give you a free copy of my book because Meredith's a friend in my audience. So free copy of my book. Go to seamless.ai. And when you join for free, type in secret book as the referral code. This book's got over 100 plus sales experts, over 1,000 sales secrets. It's 600 pages long. Join seamless.ai for free and then type in secret book as the referral code. And this book will change your life. And I'm excited to give Meredith and everyone tuning in to her show a free copy of that.
Well, Brandon, that is awesome. I'm heading over there right now. I can't wait to get a copy. Again, I just loved having you on the show. I just feel like we scratched the surface of everything that we need to talk about. So I really want to have you back on for an encore edition. Again, Maybe we'll get to do it. Maybe we'll get to do it live here in Asheville. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us for another episode of Thrive, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to turn all of this uncertainty into your competitive advantage. We'll see you next week with another guest and another show and another set of secrets that you need to know. See you next week.